Okay, first things first, I want to apologize because yes, this is another Star Wars video after I said I didn't want to talk about Star Wars anymore, but I found that I had just a little bit more to say about it before we move on. Um, uh, 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 okay. Okay, here's the thing, and this is gonna be an off-the-cuff video, so because I have to go out and watch Inside Out 2 today, and I won't have enough time to edit and all that, because I gotta get my review for Inside Out 2 coming soon, and it looks pretty good. I'm hoping for the best with this. Getting into what I want to talk about with this video, though, is while Inside Out 2 seems like a very positive thing that's going to get released by Disney, and I am not all about, oh, you know, with those people, oh, boycott Disney and all that. I'm not with those people at all. I just want to get entertaining movies, and I want to support the artists who make these entertaining movies. And so if something like Inside Out 2 is good, then I want to support that and I want to enjoy it. And I hope that maybe I'll even see this movie a second time. Anyway, this video is not about Inside Out 2. It is about Star Wars. Last week I was talking in the video about Star Wars about how there was a leak coming out that the Force is going to be made literally female or something like that, and then it came out in the Acolyte yesterday, or maybe it was a couple days ago. What that really was, that it was just something about two women creating twins and together, and that these twins are now fighting or something or whatever. I didn't watch the Acolyte, so I couldn't tell you exactly what happened. All of that stuff that I'm hearing about it, about the occult and all that, sounds really weird. It sounds really awful, and it doesn't sound anything that has to do with Star Wars. But I'm seeing a little shift though, and it's something that I didn't expect, because I knew that there'd be lots of yelling and screaming and all the misery around Star Wars that I want to get away from, but I saw something I didn't expect happen with this. I saw a bit of a shift where it seemed that everyone was starting to be unified on that they don't like what has happened with this universe, because it's been polarizing for years, and for years it's been said that the fan base who hates what's happened to Star Wars is just all the toxic people, and they're not valid criticisms, and that everything's fine. But now I'm seeing a shift with that. I saw Forbes put out an article calling this latest episode of The Acolyte the worst Star Wars episode ever produced. I saw people who don't regularly jump on board these kinds of things saying, yeah, this show is awful. I don't like what Star Wars has become. I don't like what the community has become. And surprisingly, that gave me a lot of optimism, because I'm like, finally, we finally, maybe we're done with this whole merry-go-round around anything having to do with Star Wars being so toxic to talk about. Because let me tell you, the reason why with the last video that I did on Star Wars, why I was nervous about doing it, I'm like, because I'm gonna say I don't like what it is. Now I'm gonna get accused of all this stuff. I'm gonna have people project what my beliefs are and all of that. Let me tell you, I'm actually a bit feminist behind the scenes. I'm traditionally feminist, you know, in terms of just equal rights, caring about actual issues that women face in real life. And so for me, it's like, it's ridiculous to claim that just because I hate like The Last Jedi, that means that I believe a certain way, just because I'm critical of female characters in these movies, that I believe a certain way. Like, the only reason why I criticize female characters in these shows and stuff is because I want to see them done better, and I don't want the hate that's been coming up to continue, as when you come up with these bad female characters, you open the doors for that. But I think that everything I've heard about The Acolyte sounds absolutely hilarious, and I'm kind of... I, I still feel bad about it because of what Star Wars is. What really got me about it, and seeing this decay about Star Wars and how there's nothing to be enjoyed anymore, it's all just the negativity. It made me feel bad because I saw someone say that Star Wars could become the next Indiana Jones, the next Ghostbusters, in a popular series that just fades into the background with time as the old fan base kind of dies out. And that kind of coincided with a article that came out from The Wrap that I saw that said that the Star Wars fan base currently skews male and older, meaning that kids, as I predicted, have not really gotten on board with Star Wars. And that just makes me really, really sad. because you had something so good there, and that next generations won't know what it is to have, the hype around Star Wars and the love for it back then. Because there's been people coming out and saying that it is Star Wars fans' fault that Star Wars became what it was because we complained too much about the prequels. And hey, I never complained about the prequels. I could defend the prequels. Any complaint I ever had about the prequels was just in good fun. It was the media who criticized the prequels more. I don't think that the people who make Star Wars have anyone to blame but themselves for this. But while that's still a downer thing that Star Wars has become what it has become, uh, the reason I have hope is I'm like, maybe finally they'll stop making Star Wars content. That's what I'm really excited for, because here's the thing, and I saw a Den of Nerds say this on Twitter. But it was like, you release two incredibly polarizing movies with The Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker, Solo bombs. You need to take a break from movies. You don't know what to do next. And then you churn out a bunch of Disney Plus shows, and you put out your most polarizing content, meaning The Acolyte, right before you're going to try to get back into movies with The Mandalorian and Grogu, which is not going to work. That movie absolutely will not work, because it's a spinoff. It's a movie that's a spinoff to a series that's already run its course, essentially. So, but here's the bright side of it, though. I was looking at what content they have for Star Wars coming up. They have the Andor season 2, and they have the Mandalorian and Grogu. I don't think that Mandalorian movie is going to happen now. I think that the hate for Star Wars and everything about it, and the misery around it, and the toxicity around everything to do with Star Wars. I'm not talking about the fan base. I'm talking about the people who make it and everything together. I think it's gotten to be too much. I think that they're going to want to. I don't think that anybody behind the scenes is going to be confident going forward with a Star Wars movie. Too much damage has been done. And that suits me just fine, because all I wanted for years now. It's the same thing with really Harley, and when I talk about her, all I want is for them to stop making things for these universes and these characters. If you can't make something good, don't make anything at all. That's my opinion. I knew that the yelling and the controversy was going to happen for The Acolyte, because that's par for the course. Everything that they put out for Star Wars now is just put out to rile people up, and it's become this like weird ecosystem where Lucasfilm will create a Star Wars property for nobody, really, and then YouTubers will get mad at it, and they'll create tons of videos dogging on it, and old Star Wars fans will get mad at it. They make money off of that. Likely, Disney Lucasfilm is losing money off of theirs. They churn out another show, and the cycle of life continues. And I'm like, that's no way to run a business. But like other people, I get tired of all of that negativity on these conversations. I'm like, I wish that we had like a big franchise we could all be excited about again. But here's the thing, that all of that cycle is not going to stop until you stop making these shows. Like, I think it's funny that people complain about YouTubers who just complain about things all the time with these franchises. Like, you could shut down all these YouTubers if you would just stop making this content and stop feeding it out, because it has no other audience than that. But yeah, like I said, it seems that everyone is becoming unified on it now, that we're just done with this kind of stuff, and that we want to move on from it finally. I just want them to finally let go of Star Wars, let go of its husk, so to speak, so maybe that people's emotions can heal a bit from it, because that's the thing. It's perfectly valid the way people feel about Star Wars. I felt that way about it. I don't feel as upset about it now as I used to, because I disconnected myself from it more. Like, I haven't watched The Acolyte, will not watch any of it, I won't watch anything modern Star Wars. But I understand how other people feel. Some people have dedicated their lives to being Star Wars experts. Some people have made channels about it. Some people are so emotionally invested in it that it's very hard to see this thing that gave you a lot of joy turn into this thing that gives you a lot of misery. Yes, storytelling and stories, it's material stuff, but just like you can have an object in real life that has a lot of sentimental value, it might mean more to you than it does other people. The same can be true for stories, and that's why, people get so upset about what's happened with Star Wars. They want to come on to YouTube, they want to commiserate about it, and it's just, and that's perfectly fine, but I'm at a point where I'm just like, okay, commiseration and misery needs to stop. I think everyone is done. Please, 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 please stop making Star Wars content so we can stop going on this cycle over and over again over the same things over and over again. We know what the new Star Wars stuff is going to be. There's not going to be anything that they can get out of off the ground at this time to make it any better. So let's just move on, shall we? But I will give a little bit of hope for Star Wars in terms of people's misery about it not being able to be resurrected. Anything can be resurrected if you do it right. Getting an audience again, that is very difficult, but you can. It probably won't happen for a very long time. Like, I think Sherlock Holmes used to be very popular. He's just had gone through waves of popularity throughout the decades. You know, you had the Benedict Cumberbatch show that came back for modern times, and now we're on a dip of popularity. Anything can come back over time, but it's not going to come back right now. And I think that if they can't get anybody other than Kathleen Kennedy to do Star Wars, then they need to just say, okay, Star Wars isn't going to be made. Better to not be earning off of it than to just continuously lose money off of it. The Acolyte cost $190 million, and there's no way that it is going to make that back at all. But at this point, it seems that everyone has kind of turned against Star Wars, and I couldn't be more relieved for it, because we need to finally admit that what has happened, that it has gone downhill, that it is hijacked by people who don't care about what is Star Wars other than what they want to see in it. Don't care what anyone else wants to see in it. So I think that it is good that now it seems that the final nail in the coffin is in, and maybe we'll start not getting Star Wars, apart from Andor Season 2 perhaps. But unfortunately, there's still like 5 weeks left of The Acolyte, so I imagine there's going to be a lot more controversy around that. But maybe we're finally turning a corner where we just won't see any more of it after this, and where the heads at Disney are no longer going to allow Lucasfilm to churn these out, because there's just no way for them to move forward with it at this point with these people behind it. But that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you, patrons, as always, for supporting this channel. If you want to support my channel, you can check out my Patreon yourself. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.